Hi, this is Bob Wells here, and welcome to Undercurrent Stories. This is the show where we hear about people's interests and uncover some fascinating stories at the same time. I hope you enjoy today's show. Hello and welcome to Undercurrent Stories. In today's show, I'm joined by Peter Jones. Peter is the founder of Foyne Jones, a recruitment company, speaker and podcast host. He's also a husband, proud father and lifelong Fulham supporter. And today we're going to talk about the world of work in the 2020s. Hi Peter and welcome to the show.
Morning Bob.
Great to have you on. Been a long time.
It's been far too long, Bob. Far too long. I remember you getting in touch with me a fair few years ago when it was when you said, I've got this idea and I've got a podcast. I want to get it going, and you asked me for my should I go for it? And I remember saying 100% yes, mate. Go for it.
Do you know what? I'm so pleased you remember that, because at the time I'd been listening to podcasts and I quite enjoyed them, and I'd always, having sort of seen you on LinkedIn, I'd always been quite impressed with your very impressed with your podcast, and you were one of the inspirations to sort of get me going. And I think it's like anything in life, you're not. Some people sort of wait until they're 100% there. I just waited until I was 60% there and just built it up as I went along.
I think I remember when I did my first one, I was probably about 25% there, but I knew I wanted to get something going, and I think I'm 110, 111 episodes now. I'm on my sixth. We're just recording the last couple of episodes of season 6, and beginning to think about season 7 for later this year as well.
Before we talk about your life as the MD of Foyne Jones and the world of work, can you just tell us a bit about yourself, please, Peter, and how you started off in life and how you got into recruitment?
The journey into recruitment is probably the easiest story, but I'm a working class kid from a Fulham council estate, Bob. To be fair, and if you look at where I explain to people, it kind of goes. I kind of summarise it very quickly. I say from a Fulham council estate and working on my granddad's market stall to a misspent youth on the football terraces, corporate boardrooms, which you would have shared as well in your 44 years, corporate boardrooms, and the launch of a life-changing recruitment company. So the real world of work, I guess, begun for me when I was 18, and we're just turning 18 actually, and I walked into the job centre in North End Road, Fulham, and I needed a job. And I picked one card up and went over to talk to the lady, and she said, no, that job's gone. So I went back, I picked another card up, and she looked at that one and she said, yeah, that job's still there. I can give them a call now and you can pop down there. And she sent me down to a builder's merchant on Imperial Road, Fulham, which is now part of the Imperial Wharf's Chelsea Harbour development. Yeah. And on a couple of porter cabins on a sectioned off yard next to the scrap yard and the calf, and I think a brickyard, was Travis Perkins Fulham. And I started working there 4 hours a day, doing some admin, doing some yard work, jumping on the counter. Quickly progressed onto the counter and telephone sales, and before I knew it, I was a very, very young sales rep out on the road. And I think what growing up on a market stall, being outgoing, it was sales come. I don't say they come easy, but they were something I enjoyed. Progressed through merchanting. Probably lucky to be part of Travis Perkins at a time of great evolution. Was offered a huge promotion when I was 23 to move from Fulham in West London to the West Country and be part of the South West region. Took that opportunity, led a sales force of 24 reps, all of them older than me, Bob. All of them knew better than me, Bob. Didn't understand my accent, you can imagine. So that was a tough gig for a while. 24 reps and 3 different regional directors. It was unforgiving. But then with the planned acquisitions, Sherry and Haycock, tick. Sharp and Fisher, tick. Keyline, tick. The South West region almost overnight grew from 30 odd branches to 120 branches, and territories got more defined. And then I absolutely loved my role as a regional sales manager. That took me to sales director designate, and it was at that time, it was one of those stick or twist situations in your life. At that time, my wife was pregnant with my second child, who's now 21, Henry, and she said, I'm going back to London. You can come. I'd prefer you to come, but if you don't, I'm going anyway. And that led to conversations with Travis. They offered me a position back in London. At the same time, I was offered a couple of other positions, and one of them was to was to join your old business, to join Jewson, and I joined Jewson and quickly assumed the position of London sales director. And I think you was at the conference, Bob, where that was launched at Excel, and I did a big presentation under the lights. This young lad who's 27 years of age is running his own region. It was it was a huge compliment to be given that opportunity, and I loved every minute of my time at Saint-Gobain. But that time at Saint-Gobain, I arrived at a point at Jewson in particular where, first time in my career, and I think some of your listeners will get this, but for the first time in my career, I didn't want my boss's job.
Yeah.
And all the way through my career, I wanted my boss's job. You know, I wanted to be that rep. I wanted to be that key account manager. I wanted to be that sales manager. I wanted to be that sales director. But I didn't like the I don't want to say the bureaucracy. That's unfair. But the way the business works, I wasn't enjoying what I was doing. I was spending more time and you'll know this, in a place called Binley Business Park, Coventry. I was spending more time in Coventry talking about my job than actually doing my job. And that led to some frustration. I was still doing really well, and I saw an opportunity because I was involved in the consolidation of the recruitment PSL for Saint-Gobain. And after doing that for a couple of days, I realised that there were some great recruiters, some average recruiters, and some rubbish recruiters on there. You know, there was the great and good, I guess, if you like, at the industry at that time. A snapshot of where we were in 2003. What I saw was there wasn't a recruiter that could sit in front of me and know what I needed for a branch manager in Peckham. There weren't a recruiter who sat in front of me and knew what I needed for a sales rep to target dry liners in North London. You know, they were good recruiters, but actually understanding the market from the inside out, they didn't have that in their locker. So that became a fault. That fault became an idea. And I remember the eureka moment. I was driving back from the M40 because that PSL consolidation was at the Belfry Hotel by the golf course, and driving down the M40 around Oxford Services, I pulled over and I thought, I could do this.
Yeah,
I could do this, just like you with your podcast. I could do this. Not sure how I'm going to do it, but I can do this. And that turned into an idea. I approached Jonathan Foyne, who'd worked with me at Travis and came across to join me when I was building the structure in Jewson. If I'm good at 5 things, I'm really bad at another 5 things, but those things I'm bad at, John was good at. So we're around the same age. It felt like someone who might be interested. He was. We put our money where our mouth is, and I resigned to the board of Jewson in September 2003. Foyne Jones started trading in January 2004. Bob, here we are now. So we're so if you look at that, we're in our 20th year of trading. It's been an emotional journey. I'm sure we'll come on to that a little bit further down. But that's the business side of me. But me as a person, I mean, I think you grabbed that intro from my LinkedIn profile, because most people will know me from LinkedIn. I am a lifelong Fulham fan. No Mitro, no problem. We won yesterday without Mitro in the team. I think I could give you 100 million reasons why he won't be in our team for the start of the season. I think he's gone, and that'll be confirmed this week. But I grew up watching Fulham in the lower leagues, in the old Division 4, old Division 3. I've watched us all the way up to the Premier League, to European finals, and I've watched us get relegated and battle back as well. So I'm one of these Fulham fans that loves the team, but I don't get too excited when we win, because I don't get that upset when we lose. I'm there for I'm there for everything else that goes with it. But a big part of my life is my football team. My wife. I met my wife when she was 18 and I was 20. So we're 28 years together, because I'm 48 years young now, and we've got 2 sons. Harry is 25, and Henry is 21. And I've got a dog that most people know as well, Bob, a Cocker Spaniel called Snoop Dogg. He's more popular than me on LinkedIn. Everyone knows him. Yeah,
I think I've seen him actually. So he's
much more popular than me, mate. But that's kind of who I am and what I do.
Yeah.
The business itself, unsurprisingly, is specialist recruitment and talent attraction for the construction suppliers, manufacturing, KBB, and luxury interior sectors, which are all products and markets and industries which I'm passionate about and I'm very familiar with. So that's what we do, and I do mean this with respect. We do it pretty well, if I'm honest.
Yeah, just for our overseas listeners, we were talking earlier about merchanting, and what we mean by merchanting is obviously selling to builders, construction companies, building products, things like bricks and timber. And KBB, that's kitchen and bathroom, isn't it?
Kitchens, bedrooms, and bathrooms.
Kitchen, bedrooms, and bathrooms.
It's the three most important rooms in the house.
You touched there on the fact that you, because of your experience in the industry, you knew what clients wanted. But how would you define a recruiter?
I mean, recruiters, sadly, have an unfair reputation of living just above estate agents and slightly below double glazing salesmen, which is really, really unfair, because I think that the recruitment industry is a multi-million-pound industry. Globally, it's a billion-pound industry, and I think there's misconceptions about what a good recruitment process looks like and how that process makes you feel. One of the biggest misconceptions of people that I speak to is that a job seeker or someone who's looking for work will believe the recruitment's role is to find them a job.
Yeah,
that isn't the recruiter's role. The role of a recruiter is actually to identify talented people who match the requirements of a brief they're given by an employer. So that's where the magic happens, and a lot of expectation needs to be managed, and that's where I'd go. But at the Foyne Jones Recruitment Group, we're a specialist talent attraction and recruitment partner in very niche specialist sectors, and we stay in our niche sectors because we understand them. We understand the pressure points, we understand the challenges, we understand what good looks like, and we've got a reputation, an enviable reputation for success. So we work as a specialist partner. The majority of recruiters work in something which is called a contingency recruitment model. So with contingency, and sorry, let me go back a step. We only work in permanent appointments, so we don't do temporary, we don't do interim. We work in permanent employment. So if you work with us and you take and someone instructs us, we will be looking to find them, for example, a branch manager of a business in Lincoln, and we will find them the best branch manager in Lincoln, and we'll do that through our contacts, through our database, through online and offline marketing, through storytelling. We use the power of video, and we leave no stone unturned until we find the very best people for that opportunity. Many recruiters, I would say the majority in our sector, work on what is called a contingency model, and that's it's like selling a house with an estate agent. If I don't sell your house, you don't give me any money. If that makes sense. Yeah. We don't work that way. We work on a transparency basis. We work as a partner. So we would agree a fee for the project. We would take a small part of that fee at the start before we start work as a deposit. We invoice on appointment, and we're proud to do that. And we stay with you all the way through probation. So we're a specialist partner, and we stay away from multi-agency instruction. We work very, very closely with our clients, and that's why we've got such a success rate on the projects we have live. And you'll notice that I use the word project rather than vacancy, Bob. So yes, I would prefer to have 30 projects where we're working closely with a client than have 100 vacancies where we might get the odd interview or we might get the odd placement. So that's something which is earned. You don't get that overnight. But now I'm in my 20th year. We have got an amazing network of clients. We've got an amazing network of employers that partner with us at Foyne Jones, and I'm proud to say that we get more things right than we get wrong, and that's why we have got such a good reputation. There's goodwill about our business, and we do it with a smile on our face, and I think that's important as well.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned about staying on through the probationary period. So, if somebody's on for 3 months or 6 months, you'll carry on working with the client and the candidate at that time, through that time.
Well, we're with our partners as we're with our clients as partners. So everything we do is about supporting that appointment. When you talk to someone, they're interested in three things normally: how much do I like you? How much will it cost, and what happens if it goes wrong? We could get 99 appointments right, but we'll be judged on the one that goes wrong. We'll get 99 people turn up for an interview, but we'll be judged on the one person that doesn't turn up. We'll get 99 people that don't accept a counter offer. The one that does accept the counter offer and doesn't start is what the employer remembers. And how you deal with that, that's when the relationship becomes special. Because if you deal with the negative stuff as passionately and positively as all the good news and all that stuff there, people remember you. And that's probably one of the biggest drivers for me, is that we do the right thing all the way through the process. I treat people how they would like to be treated. I treat people how they would like to be treated themselves, and that personality, that passion, that approach, we mix that up with world leading video technology. We would mix that up with some of the best recruitment data systems and CRM systems in the world. We invest in technology, and I surround myself with amazingly talented people who are much better than me.
Yeah, and you put it all together, obviously.
I think I get out of the way and let them go to work. To be honest, you know, I can influence the business in certain areas. I can bring drive, I can bring passion, I can bring personality. Perhaps business development. You know, people will want to talk to me, which is great. I've got a loud voice on social channels, particularly LinkedIn. You know, I've got a very, very large network, and that network has influence. There's great people I'm connected with, great people I work with. So that all helps, and it's all part of the DNA of the Foyne Jones Recruitment Group.
And what part of the country do you work in? Is it national?
Yeah, we've always, since we launched in 2004, we've recruited nationally. We recruit. We've got positions across the UK and in Dubai at the moment. So we're so we've expanded our reach globally. We've done European appointments over the years as well, but predominantly they're UK-based appointments. Yeah. We go from apprenticeship to C-suite, so it's from apprentice to boardroom, you know, and leadership positions. But our sweet spot is normally the 25k to 100k appointments. That's the sweet spot of what tends to come to us. So the management-led roles, the sales-led roles, the specification-led roles, the purchasing supply chain-led roles, they're ones that come to us. If you look at the footprint of those branches, a showroom manager, a designer, a branch manager, an area manager, a sales manager, a business development manager, business development director, regional managing director, they're appointments which you would see regularly from us at Foyne Jones, and they're ones that they're always ones within our key markets. I think that's an important message to have as well.
And we hear a lot of doom and gloom about jobs and stuff and the economy through the media. What's the current sort of market like for jobs in the industry that you deal with?
It's very tough at the moment. But the market boom post COVID, we saw an acceleration of growth. We saw positions being appointed. Right now, there's a time for thought. Appointments are being made, Bob, but they're strategic appointments or business critical appointments, and that's two areas which will always continue. What I say is that in tougher times, good people become more valuable. So. Protecting your people, investing in people, attracting people, but retaining them and developing, that's one of the biggest challenges we have. My whole podcast, season 6, is about inspiring our stars of the future. I think the industries I recruit for are struggling. You know, they need more apprenticeship pathways, and we need to be appealing to school leavers, to college leavers, to graduates. You look at the younger generation now. A young 18-year-old Peter Jones might have wanted to be a YouTuber. I might have wanted to play for Fulham. I might have wanted to work in media, fashion, retail, whatever. Would I wanted to work in a builder's merchant's yard? Not sure. If I go back in time, I fell into it, and so many of the success stories in an industry I'm passionate about are that yard foreman that's now running a branch, that forklift driver that's now an MD. People's climb through the business is quite meteoric, and it still is. But if we arrive at a point where people like me, I'm nearer 50 than I am 20, so if you look at that, if we haven't got the quality coming in and we are not attracting the right people, we're in danger of having some real problems. You see that in trade now. You see that in skills. There's a skill shortage. Where are the installers? Where are the fitters? Where are those apprenticeships? There are some people out there making some really pushing for change, but they're areas that every employer needs to think about. You need to think about the next generation. So the market itself is tough. Redundancies are back. The R word is back, and that has an impact across the industry. And also, and this isn't spoken often enough, people are scared now. They're scared about their mortgages going up. They're scared about losing their job. So when you're scared, something change. We humans, we don't like change. So potentially going for a position, you're more hesitant about it. You're more likely to stay with your current employer. You're going to stick rather than twist if you go down the stick or twist route. So it's harder to attract people. There's less jobs out there, but there still is opportunity. And in tougher times, good people become more valuable.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, how's the world of work changed over the last sort of 10 or 20 years, or certainly since you and I were in the business when we first started? Um, you know, when I was brought up, it was very much a case of somebody went into a company and they would be there for, I don't know, 20, 30 years, or perhaps all their time. What we're saying is now that people aren't. They're looking for perhaps every 2 or 3 years for a change.
I think COVID changed everything in terms of
Mm,
people's perception on what the working day looks like, what the working week looks like. There's new legislation going to be put in about regarding flexible working. You know, everyone has the right to ask for flexible working, and I think that working from home, working remotely, having flexible hours, being creative, that's something that every employer, regardless of their shape and size, needs to think about. And well-being, well-being isn't a ping pong table. It's not a fluffy beanbag that you can sit on, or drinks in the pub on a Friday.
yeah.
Well-being is actually how people feel in the workplace, how they're treated in the workplace, and everyone's more aware of that now. And that did come from the pandemic. It's one of the more positive things to come out of the pandemic. Um, what you're also seeing is younger generations, and you're completely right, Bob. You know, the I'll do 25 years, I'll get a watch and a good pension isn't appealing to people right now. You know, it's really hard for the younger generation to get a mortgage, to get on the property ladder. So what they're doing, they're looking at working in different countries. They can work, digital nomads. You know, they can work wherever they want. They can take their office with them. Their office is a laptop. Their office is a phone. So
Yeah.
so you've got generations that are approaching work differently, and that's a challenge for any business if they want to actually think about how they can bring them people in. um, Flexibility can be offered. We offer it big time here at Foyne Jones, because a lot of the work we do should be outside of working hours. If I was talking to you about, let's go back to your previous life, Bob. If I was talking to you about a potential new opportunity, probably wouldn't be able to get you at 2:30 on a Thursday afternoon, but I bet I could get you at 7 p.m. in the evening. If we agreed to
Yeah.
call, you'd probably talk to me. And what a
Yeah.
great time to talk to you. You'll be more relaxed. You haven't got the pressures of work. We'll get to know you and see if you are interested in a position, or if the position we've got is right for you. And that's just approaching work more creatively. But you have to be aware that you can't expect someone to work till 7, 8 at night and then still be in at 7, 8 in the morning the next day.
Mm,
You've got to be flexible with that. You've got to look at the output. And believe it or not, we hear horror stories of people who are working from home and they're being more aggressively micromanaged working from home than they were in the office. It's completely counterproductive. But
yeah.
equally, I don't always think the people doing that are aware they're doing it. I don't think it's done with, I don't really get up in the morning and say, I'm going to make my members of staff feel uncomfortable today. I think it's just culturally, you can fall into some traps sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about the whole working from home thing because that's something which I experienced during COVID. I was furloughed for about 3 months, and then predominantly worked. I think it was 3 or 4 days. Well, eventually every day for a couple of years, which was good and bad. Good in as much as I was able, if I had a particular deep project to do, I was able to get right into it with no distractions. But bad in terms of the rapport with other people. I mean, you could get it to on Zoom and Teams meetings to a certain extent. There's nothing quite like walking past the water cooler or the coffee machine, having a chat with somebody, and actually be able to get a decision made without having to go into a meeting or write a report. I wonder what your thoughts were on, and what your clients' thoughts were on working from home.
I think personally, if I talk about me as a human being, I'm not very good at it. In fact, I'm rubbish at it. Um, During COVID, I was the lonely business owner that preferred to walk his dog into the office and work from my office. But that's a me thing.
Yeah.
That's not an industry thing. I get too easily distracted at home. I've had beautiful home offices. I've had garden offices. I've had everything set up, so I should be able to do it. But it doesn't work for me. I can do some social content. I can do some creative thinking from home. But I always have preferred an office environment. I think that there's a balance between having the opportunity, having the flexibility to work from home as and when needed, and being around the business as well. I see great examples of people that work from home absolutely spectacularly well, and I see examples of people that struggle with it. And I think the the reality of it comes down to you as an individual, how set up you are, how motivated you are, how good it is for you. If you're doing it with the laptop on your sofa and the dogs are barking and the TV's on, you're probably not 100% committed. But if you've got a place where you can focus, your internet connections strong, stable, and consistent, you can take your office anywhere in the world. And I think that's exciting as well.
What are you actually looking for when you interview potential candidates?
That would completely vary depending on the position, who we're working in partnership for, and what they're looking for in the appointment. So there's no complete way to answer that question. But what I can say is that 95% of the job seekers we see don't make a good first impression. It's the 5% of people that go above and beyond. They will have a best-in-class CV. They will have a LinkedIn profile that stands them out in the current market. They will engage and talk, and they will just boss it all the way through the process. They have a mindset that separates them above others. That's the 5% of people which tend to get employed. And you can fix that. A job seeker can fix that by getting their mind in the right place, by having a strategy, by believing that document they're going to give to introduce themselves, whether it's a portfolio, whether it's a resume, whether it's a CV, but that is the best possible version of them. It can't be any better. If you've got that in your locker, you're going to be in a great place. And again, doing your homework, being over prepared before an interview, that separates everyone. But our approach will be very specific to every client we work for. So we understand the questions the client will ask. We understand what good looks like for them. And then we see if that person exists. If that person exists, will they be interested in this opportunity? Unfortunately, you see a lot of employers in today's market, and I'll use a football analogy for you, they want to sign a 20 goal a season Premier League striker on championship salaries. Not going to happen.
No.
So what do? You either increase your budget and you attract the striker you want, or you go into the youth team or the lower leagues and you bring someone in who's got medium to long term potential. They're your opportunities, because you stay within your salary band, or you go ahead of your salary band. No employer in today's market, Bob, has a God-given right for someone to want to work for them. So how you treat people, how you work with them, the process. Doing the right thing through the interview process can sometimes be the difference between a job seeker wanting to work for you or not wanting to work for you.
Yeah, I can see that. One of the things I noticed is that you're quite sort of adamant that jobs should be actually advertised with a salary at the same time, whereas in the past there's been quite a lot of, and probably still is, a lot of cloak and dagger stuff about what that salary is.
I've got partners I'm working with that won't do it, and we explain to them that okay, we'll still work with you, but you are not going to reach the maximum amount of people if you hide the salary or if you keep the salary confidential. Yes, when you're in conversation, yes, you can release the details as you need to, but you're still not having the global reach of a position. If you don't show the salary. I'm passionate about showing the salary, but equally there are times when I respect that it's not going to be shown, and we work on the project as best we can.
Yeah, I guess there's probably times when there's a team of people and they know they've got to pay more, but they've got a team of people who are being paid less, and they don't want to tell everybody. Otherwise, they have to pay everybody more. That could be a reason.
I think there's lots of different reasons, but there's a consensus. I've got a recent post, and overwhelmingly, from a job seeker's perspective, people want to see the salary. An employer made a really good point. He said, but I can pay, if you can make me £1 million worth of business, I'll pay you £2 million. But if you so I do understand it from the employer's point of view, and I think what we bring is we bring real honesty, and we show the differences between what it means to the job seeker if you show the salary against what it doesn't mean, and the impacts of it one way or the other. You can't, you're never going to have a unanimous decision in this life. You're never going to have everyone in agreement in the world over what's right or what's wrong. But we have values that we believe in, and I will publicly say, show the salary. you should show the salary on your marketing. You should show your salary on your advertising. But equally, I do respect that doesn't fit with every business. It doesn't fit with every opportunity. So we have to tread that balance between being a true partner to our clients and being a voice of good as well.
Yeah, yeah. Just moving on to the industry that you specialise in. How well these days is diversity represented in it?
Much better, much better. I had one of the best guests ever on my podcast, Tony McClelland, who's she worked to advise the police after the Stephen Lawrence not after the investigation into how the Stephen Lawrence case was handled. She worked with the government in the Grenfell Tower inquiry. She's a DEIB champion. One of the things she spoke about, we spoke about everything from the work she does with gangs in London to advising boards of directors in terms of how they should approach diversity. There's a perception that the industries I recruit for are white, male and stale, and that's something that has to be changed, and it has been changed. There's amazing females in leadership positions. There's businesses now which are much truer representations of their local demographic profiles, and I think that's amazing as well. But there's always going to be work to be done, and I think generically, an employer needs to mean it. They need to actually mean it and commit to it. And if they commit to looking at, and diversity to me can mean a different skill set, it can mean a different experience. It's not always race, religion, colour or creed. It can be from so many different points. The best candidate isn't always the person who's working for the competitor around the corner. They might be an average person working for a competitor around the corner, and there'll be an average person working for you. The best individual may be from a different background. They may be from a different country. They may be from a different sector, a different industry, a different way of life, but they could bring something really special. So encouraging businesses to see the medium to long-term potential and invest in training, invest in mentoring, invest in support, that makes a huge difference. You can play it safe, and I'll go for that person because they've got experience, they've worked with the product before, they understand the market, they won't need too much training. Au contraire, if we look the other way, let's look at where someone can get in the medium to long term. And if you look at the best careers and some of the most inspirational people in the sectors I work for, someone has always taken a chance on them, Bob. Someone took a chance on you and give you a job. Someone took a chance on me, made me the youngest sales rep, youngest sales manager, youngest sales director. I remember when I launched the business, people said, "Are you mad? You're walking away from a corporate job. You're the youngest sales director. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I want to do it." And I believed in myself and gave myself a chance. And on that journey, I learned that perhaps in the financial crisis of 2009, 2010, I learned that I wasn't invincible. I still got scars from that passage of play, but I learned a lot about myself. You learn more in the tough times than you do in the times when you're having it off. And actually, when you then start going deeper into the process and you add true value to your partners, you add true value to the job seekers you're working with and the talented candidates up and down the country, what happens is your brand grows, your value grows, and you enter more difficult passages of play like Brexit, like COVID and the lockdowns, and you come out of them not just surviving but thriving. And that's something which does come from diversity.
I guess you're building on the experiences that you've had all the time. So next time the next big wave comes, you're better prepared.
Hopefully. I mean, you're only as good as the next interview. You're only as good as the next conversation. You're only as good as the next day. And some days, you just get up, and the challenge is you just got to put one foot in front of the other and keep moving. But if you do keep moving and you keep believing, there's always opportunity out there. And I think from the sectors I recruit in and the people I talk to, there's so many amazing personalities, so many inspirational stories, and the more we celebrate them, I think the better the health of the industries will be. But diversity is a challenge for everyone, and I do believe that there's a lot of companies and groups out there that are just playing lip service to it, and they don't mean it. I think if you mean it and you commit to something, you can make a real difference.
We've already mentioned that we're in a difficult period at the moment. You mentioned it a bit earlier on with vacancies and candidates. But if there was somebody listening who just fancied a change of career, but they were very mindful of the economy, but they definitely fancy doing something different. What sort of advice would you give them?
I'd encourage them to go for it, because the world is full of lots of people that are going through the motions on the hamster wheel of work life, Monday to Friday, Dolly Parton hours, 9 to 5. They're doing just enough. They don't feel valued. They don't feel rewarded. If you financially can afford to take a risk, if you in your own, from a well-being point of view, are not enjoying what you're doing, and a change can have a positive impact on you, what's the worst thing that can happen? It could go wrong, or nothing will change. I think that job seeking can be daunting. It can be terrifying, and a lot of that's because of how people are treated. They apply for jobs, they don't hear back. They go for interviews, they get ghosted. No one comes back to them. These people say, "Oh, I'll ring you on Friday." Friday comes and goes, and they don't hear, and that puts you off. And also failure, being unsuccessful can be terrifying. But for me, I always encourage people to dream big. Dream big, really mean it, and don't apply for every opportunity. But apply for ones you really want to do. And then if you really want that job, think about how you can do something above and beyond the other 99 people that are applying for it, so you stand out. But I would always encourage people to think about their situation, think about the short, medium, and long term for them, and go for it and dream big, because you've got nothing else to lose. And what normally happens when they don't is another year goes by, same problems. Another few months go by, same problems, and you miss that one-off chance for something life-changing. And if you go for it and you put your heart and soul into it, you'd be amazed what you can make happen. And also, dare I say this, Bob, you may also find by talking to a few other companies and looking at a few jobs and dipping your toe in the water, that actually those things that annoyed you about your current employer are not that bad at all, and you're in quite a good place, so you should stay where you are. That happens as well, but you won't know that until you look.
No. So explore.
Yeah. Follow your heart, follow your dreams.
Yeah. What motivates Peter Jones?
I love what I do. I love my business. I love the people I work with. I love the people that work. I love our partners. I love our team. I love everything we do. But the single biggest motivator in my life is my family, my wife and 2 children. They're everything to me. So that's why I do everything I do. I'm a passionate person. I'm a driven person. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Sometimes too much. I care. Probably sometimes too much. I love bringing humour. I love bringing personality into the working day, but I passionately care about the industries we recruit for as well. So, I think they said something that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. I love what I do.
Do you have to manage that heart on the sleeve stuff?
Yeah.
When you're in meat?
Yeah. I mean, it was something in my younger days, and it's still with me now. I could be passion can be. You can go a step too far sometimes. So I have to rein it in. I have to understand when to apply it. I have to realise that patience and the ability to listen are good. One of my greatest gifts, I think, is the ability to listen and retain information. That's something that stays with you. It's a life skill. It's not just a business skill. It's a life skill.
Yeah. And what do you do outside of work? You mentioned football, and I've seen that you do quite often. You're going on a run.
I think a healthy body, healthy mind. So running's good for me. I have a lot of ideas when I'm running. I have a lot of ideas when I'm exercising. John Foyne always used to say that Peter Jones that's running and training is the best Peter Jones for the business, and it just clears my mind. Because running your own business, whether it's small, medium, large, you're not just dealing with the things you want to do. I would love to just be talking to customers, doing podcasts with Bob Wells, having fun every day. But there's a serious side to what we have to do. I have to look at the financial aspects of the business. I have to look at my legal obligations to the business. I have to look at how we're going to position ourselves to be the go-to recruiter in our sector. What are we doing different with our content? What are we doing different with our marketing? How are we approaching our projects? Are we delivering value? So you're constantly having different questions and different focuses, and if you strip it right back, and that's one of the things I'm very good at, is I strip it right back, and what's important. what's the most important? What don't I want to do? What do I have to do? And having a daily plan, a weekly plan, checking in on that, keeping yourself focused and committed, that's really positive. And running, fitness, the gym, that's part of what I do. That's part of who I am.
So you actually write down a weekly and daily plan, do you?
I wouldn't say it's sort of as detailed as one of yours, Bob. Because I saw the details you sent to me on Friday. It was exceptional. But mine is much more about what's important. What am I focusing on? And I build in times to turn my phone off and have flight mode on, so I'm thinking I'm not being controlled by an app or controlled by an update or a like or a text or an email or a message. So having time in my day to be creative is really good. And I guess because it's my business and my name over the door, if at 12 o'clock I want to have a run along the beach, I can go and have a run along the beach. If I want to duck away a bit early to do something different, I can do that and I can come back later. Running your own business has flexibility, and you can tailor it around your lifestyle. But I say to everyone, I probably work, Bob, 30 hours a day, 8 days a week, and I love every minute of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that you have various speaking engagements. Could you just tell us a little bit about that, please?
Everything really, Bob, from industry related conversations on digital storytelling, recruitment, talent attraction, all the way to working with schools, colleges, prisons, veterans. Some of the best speaking engagements I've had have been in prisons, talking to young offenders, talking to people that are approaching the end of their sentences and wanting to turn right rather than turn left when they get that second chance. And that's something I do. But again, speaking engagement can be talking to 3 people, it can be talking to 3,000 people. It depends on where the platform is. But over the years I've done lots of different events. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's a good segue into the next bit about speaking. Could you just tell listeners a bit about your podcast?
The podcast called The Foyne Jones Show. It's now approaching the end of its 6th season. You can watch on YouTube. You can download on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. It's a celebration of personalities and people inside and outside of our industry. I've had Premier League footballers on there, and I've had CEOs of some of the most amazing companies in our sectors on there. We get to know people when they're not at work. It's very conversational. It's a conversational-led show, it started as a crazy idea towards the end of 2018, and became something very, very special. As I said, we're on our 6th season. It's monetized. I've got an amazing sponsor. I've got great partners that are involved, and I have some some just inspirational guests. So. Season 1 was the launch of the show. Season 2 was really bringing new guests and personalities to life. It exploded during the pandemic with my survival special series. I had some of the most amazing personalities and leaders from our markets give something back. They gave their time back and gave advice to people and really went above and beyond the call of duty. We had an amazing series. Series 4 was season 4 was brilliant. Season 5 back to business, and season 6 is all about inspiring our stars of the future. I'm probably 112 episodes in now, so it's been an amazing journey. Something I'm really, really proud of, and I've made friends. I've made new clients. I've laughed more than I've ever laughed before when I'm recording the episodes. They're just something really, really special. We recorded the last 2 series in the best podcast recording studio in the south of England, in Brighton. I've got an amazingly talented young producer, Charlie Hula, who's a genius in editing, genius in production, genius in videography, and an absolute pleasure to have around. We've recorded on location at our clients' showrooms or clients' head offices, and we record in our studio in Brighton. It's something which I'm amazingly proud of, but it's only as good as the next listener. and it's only as good as the next person giving us feedback. And we get quite high in the charts. We get into the top 20 in iTunes when the episodes drop, but that's not as important as the feedback. For me, the next guest feedback, the next listener's feedback, putting a show together which is enjoyable and fun to listen to, that's what it's all about. And I think the biggest thing I'd say compared to a lot of other podcasts out there is that it's very conversational. It's very conversational.
It is, and it's one that I thoroughly enjoy, Peter, and been listening to. And as I say, it sort of partially inspired my going into podcasts because of the fun you have. And I could probably say that even if you're not into recruitment, it's well worth the listen with some of the humour that comes up, and quite a lot about football.
Yeah, I mean, football's a big part, but it's amazing. If you dive into the personalities behind businesses, the personalities behind brands, and find that we had a guest on who he started his business as a installer with one van. He's now got an £8 million business with 70 members of staff, and
wow.
He spoke about that journey and how passionate he is about that. He spoke about his family, but his real love's windsurfing. He's a surfer.
Yeah.
And to hear that and to see his eyes light up when he talks about his passion for surfing, it's just amazing. We've had an ex-Ren showroom manager who's turned into a professional boxer tell his story, how he battled mental health problems to follow his dream and become a boxer. We've had leaders from leaders and CEOs, MDs of so many different companies telling stories. One of the favourite stories from the podcast, Bob, is the marketing director of Smeg. Smeg, who do the retro fridges and appliances, beautiful products. He told a story of how a conversation on LinkedIn led to Smeg products being in Q's kitchen in the latest James Bond film.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a great episode. That was a great episode. Also told how the collaboration with Diet Coke started and led to Sophie Ellis-Bextor dancing her way out of a giant-sized Smeg fridge on Regent Street. Some of the so when you hear the behind the scenes stories of things like that, we recruit for Smeg. They're a brilliant business to recruit for. But we're not talking about recruitment in the show. We're talking about their brand, the people, what they do, and that's what we're interested in. If my show was just about we're a good recruiter, come and deal with us, we're great, no one will listen. No. Why would you listen to that? I won't listen to that.
This is entertainment.
Yeah. That's what we go for. No. We don't always get it right, but it's a great thing to be involved in.
Well, Peter, this has been a really great conversation. It's been interesting to learn more about recruitment and the world of work in the 2020s. And I think that the advice you've given based on your experiences really assists those looking for work or those perhaps looking for a change. My guest today has been Peter Jones. Peter is founder and director of Foyne Jones, the recruitment company, and you can find a link to Peter's website on the show notes. Thank you for coming on the show, Peter.
Thanks, Bob. It's been an absolute pleasure to catch up with you. If anyone needs any advice, needs any help, needs any support at all across the entire recruitment piece, the job seeking piece, if they've been made redundant and they need some steps to get themselves back onto the ride, you can get connect with me on LinkedIn, get in touch with me at the office. I'm one of the most approachable people in the world. I'll always make time to help anyone if I can. And more importantly, if we can make a difference, that's something which I'm really passionate about as well.
Thanks ever so much, Peter. Thank you. You have been listening to Undercurrent Stories. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please feel free to share the show link to your friends and family, and if you have 60 seconds, I will be most grateful if you would please rate and review. To hear more episodes, please subscribe to the show and visit undercurrentstories.com. If you leave your email in the link, we will notify you as soon as new episodes are released. Also, check out our social media links, details of which can be found on the show notes. Until next time, this is Bob Wells wishing you all the very best.